relative Emerson Gordon went to go be with him this morning. And so, I wanted to ask Doug to come up here and to share a few words. And I want to ask while he's sharing a few words, if Ty, Misu, my little brother Ty, could smudge off this chonwakan while he's talking.
Good morning to all of you. Sitki Kadam Sanasnat. My English name is Douglas James. Istalis Siamowit. It brings us great honor to stand upon this land today. To stand here with the ancestors and with all of you, that we can mix our tracks together here today. And it is true, it feels like our family is growing. And that's kind of what this whole journey has been about, is reaching out to one another. Ait swallowing means of one heart and one mind. And to accept each other for who we are as brothers and sisters. We can do powerful things if we stand united. And that's what this poll has been all about, is to bring us all together, that we can and will use our voices to speak out across this land. I want to thank the brothers and the sisters that shared the sweat last night and offered up the prayers for my brother Susiath, Jewel James. I want to thank our elder, Emerson Gorman, for getting on a plane this morning and flying back to Bellingham. Said, I'm going to go be with your brother, and I'm going to go show love and support for him. Emerson and my brother have been friends for a long, long time, brothers in this walk of life. And so I really appreciate the elder for doing that for us. It helps relieve our heart, because it's been heavy. Like I was saying, that this is our 20th year of bringing poles across this country. Crystal mentioned lame deer, and I was just flashing back that when we were going across cross country, 2 years in a row, we stopped in lame deer and just asked for permission to cross through their land. That we didn't want to disrespect anybody as we were going through their country. And so the second year we stopped in, and auto-braided hair came to us and asked us again why we were stopping there. And so we explained to him, what we were doing, and why we were bringing poles across country. And that's when he asked us if we can do a poll for lame deer. And he says, well, we'll bring one next year for you. And we did. We brought that poll there, and we, I believe we stood it in Buick. Yeah, at the travel center there. And so, it's what the Lord has been doing with us, is He's just been using us to reach out. And every one of these polls were gifts. We didn't charge them anything for them, because it's just showing that we can come together and stand together in unity. And all these polls we're doing is reaching out and to lift each other up and let you know that we're standing with you no matter what we have to go through. We stand united together. And so I just want to give the credit and glory back to our Heavenly Father for allowing us a breath of time to come here today, that we can share this beautiful day here upon this beautiful land. This place here really reminds me of Bear's Ears. We carved a pole for Bear's Ears 3 years ago and brought that right up to the plateau there. So I'd like to share with you about the pole. When Caleb, Freddie Lane, and Teresa Sheldon, they convinced my brother, that he had to do this. First time they asked him to carve a pole for them, he said no. And so they teamed up on him, and he caved in and called me. So what do you think, bro? You want to go look for a log and see if we can carve him a pole? And so we looked all over the place. We checked with forestry and all over the country. And when it came right down to it, Hoopa says, yeah, we got one down here in California if you want to come and get it. And it so happened that about 2 miles from home, a dear friend of ours, another carver, had this laying in his yard. And so he was working on the other half of it, and so we talked him into letting us purchase this 400-year-old Washington red cedar from him. And so we received the pole from him on February 4th. We loaded it up and brought it to the carving shop. And on February 7th, we started carving it. And April 21st, Freddie Lane comes up to us and he says, yeah, we got a gathering. We got to load it up and take it down to Fort Townsend. We're still painting on it and carving on it like that, but we're on the road already, rolling with it. And that's what we've been doing across country. We're still trying to finish up the last bit of touches on it, and so. But it's been one incredible journey, that we went out into the San Juan Islands, 5 islands that we hit out there, and we went down through the peninsula, went down the west coast all the way down to San Diego, and so we touched down wherever we touched down. The friendship, the love that we received from all the places that we touched was overwhelming. It's really incredible what the Lord can do, when He wants us to move. And that's kind of what's been happening. He put us up on His path here and allowing us to be here today. This 400-year-old tree, when we were in Yakima, we had an elder come to us there in Yakima, and he said the spirit that's in this tree has been telling him that when it was a sapling, it knew that it was going to be up here on our land here today. That was 400 years ago. It already knew where it was going to be and what its destination is. And it knew that it's going to be here today upon your land. So the confirmation of the spirit that's within this pole, this is a male cedar tree that was confirmed on the San Juan Island by an elder, that the spirit was telling her that the spirit that's within this pole is a male, and that it's watching over the female representation that's upon this pole here. Up on the top of the pole here is a full moon. When the moon is full here in the next few nights, you'll look up and you'll see an Indian sitting there with 2 feathers off his head, with his head bowed, and he's in prayer. And he's praying to the Creator to forgive them for not loving Mother Earth, that he's asking the Creator, that to please save the earth for the children. And it's for the children that we do what we do here today. It's for the children and the next 7 generations that are coming up behind us that are going to feel the impact if our voices aren't heard today, and that we don't use them to shout across this country. Because when we're long gone in dust, what are we going to leave our children? What kind of baton are we going to pass down to them? So we would like to make sure that we did the best that we could and left them something. So the representation of the man and the moon, that's what it is. Everything that's on this pole, my brother spiritually got vision of what's happening here. And then the second figure that came in was the eagle. And on the wings of the eagle is a representation of a salmon, coastal design. He said the eagle flies the highest, it sees the furthest, sees the past, present, and future, and carries the prayers up to the heavens. And he's also a powerful figurehead throughout all Indian country and all of our country here. We have a salmon underneath the eagle here, a Chinook salmon. And this one here, was representation, when we stopped at the Snake River dams and we had a gathering there, and that we were saying to breach the dams, allow the salmon to go back home, back up to where the rivers run cold and to where they can lay their eggs in that cool water up in the mountainside. And then on the other side, we got the bear, a transition bear here, and it's, we call him the cedar bear. We have a sea wolf on the other side, and also another salmon. The sea wolf represents the orcas, and the salmon is their food. Saying if we can save the salmon, we can save the orcas. For these are the ones that don't have the voice, and it's up to us to speak for those that don't have the voice. We have a sister that's down there in this aquarium, and we found out when we were going to Standing Rock there for the first time that it was brought to our attention that this orca's been in that aquarium since she was 4 years old. And so she's been in that for about 55, 56 years now. She was captured when she was 4 years old out in the San Juan Islands, and along with 40 other babies that they took and sold throughout the country. And so all we've been asking is to let her go home. It's like the indigenous children that were taken from their families a long time ago. Well, the same thing happened to her. She was taken from her family, and her whole way of life was taken away from her. And they turned her into a showgirl. So that's what we're speaking up for now, is the ones that don't have that voice and crying out. She has been crying out spiritually, and there has been those that can hear her saying, I want to go home. I want to go home. Anybody help me go home? So up in the middle of the fins here is a copper plate, and that's tying together the Canadian ancestors and relatives up that way, and the Alaskan relatives, that represents, who they are and our connection to them. We have also we also have a feather that was my brother had this dream, and he shared it the next day after he had the dream about a feather. In the dream that he was riding with his cousin there, and the wind came up, and this feather came right up to his window like that, and it just fluttered in front of his window. And the cousin was saying, roll down your window and grab it, take its power, take its power. So he tried and tried and tried to get the window down, but it didn't happen. It wasn't meant for him to take the power, but it was just meant for him just to see the feather. When we got to Shalala Falls, we found out that a gentleman by the name of David So Happy had the power of the dancing eagle feathers. We were told when he would lay down his scarf there and unfold his feathers, uncover his feathers, and he would start singing and dancing, that these feathers literally stood up by themselves and danced all the time he was singing. And he said that he spun so fast you couldn't even see his feet moving. And so that gave him the confirmation, because from the time of our journey, he kept carrying 3 feathers in his drum. And he said, I don't know why I'm carrying 3 feathers, but when we got to Shalala Falls, we heard the story and he understood why he was carrying them 3 feathers, because David so happy had that power. David so happy also, was thrown in prison for supporting his family. And he was set up to, because across the river they were given a higher price for his fish. And so he decided, well, I'll go over there and sell my salmon for more than I would be on our own side. And when he got over there and did that, they grabbed him and arrested him and threw him in prison. And while he was in prison, he had 3 heart attacks. And by the time they released him, it was too late. He passed on. So it was my brother Susias' wishes that David so happy be exonerated. All he was trying to do was support his family. So that's why the feather is here on the side of the pole here. I'm going to let my stylist explain the grandmother and the little one here that's on the pole, and the granddaughter that's on the other side. Aishka.
Now siamawit sanasnat. Exclamation. Ohila Quanastayo Atiakayas. I'm truly happy to be here today. My name is Siamawit and I'm from the Lemhi Nation. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be here with our relatives here, carrying on in a good fight. And knowing that the indigenous people have become organized as one, as my husband always sings about, one heart, one mind, a song he learned from the whales. And we're practicing the indigenous way by just being united. In so many different ways we've been separated from our own families, from our own traditions. But there's been some that held on and fought and wouldn't let go and stood strong, like as Sister Crystal mentioned, to fight back for the land. It must be done with prayer. It must be done with the understanding of who you are and where you come from. And that prayer way, that prayer life, is the strength of the indigenous people. And the understanding that the Creator has always had a way with the indigenous people to strengthen them and keep them strong. The indigenous people are known as resilient, perseverant, and strong. That's why they're feared. That's why the indigenous people are feared. And the laws have not always been in favor of the indigenous people, and that has caused so much problems within each and every one of our families, with our ancestors, our grandparents. I think about sometimes the trauma within my own family. And sometimes I'm so humbled by that trauma to realize that I'm not even supposed to be here according to all of those effects of those traumas. But yet here I am standing strong. And here I see all of the relatives standing strong. And that shows our survival. And that shows our strength. And we're still fighting. We're still fighting for the right for our families to be safe, to be able to continue to exist and sing their songs and do their prayer life as their ancestors recognize. There's been so much intrusion on the Indian family and the Indian community that the laws have been set to divide. The laws in the past have been set to divide. And with the organization that's coming forth those laws can be changed around so that we can stop all of the atrocities that have already happened. For example, the red hands on the moon represents the missing and murdered indigenous women. The missing and murdered indigenous women, those are our sisters, those are our daughters and our aunties that are missing and unaccounted for because the laws have not been strong enough to protect them. The laws as they stand right now, if somebody was to harm a sister, any harm, any high crime on an Indian reservation, the maximum that individual will get for that crime, 3 years. And that's through court negotiation, the court process. And they could only have a maximum of 3 cases. There are some people who do more harm than 3 cases at a time. So that means that the Indian land is not receiving justice when somebody comes onto the Indian land and harms the people. So what we want to see is some law change at the national level to protect the sisters. And also what we want to do is thank the new government that we're seeing a change in the United States government, that they are looking at this, especially Deb Haaland for her work and stepping forward to protect the missing and murdered indigenous women. She's made a verbal commitment to that, an honorable commitment. She's also made a commitment for sacred lands protection. And she does, I don't believe that she's doing it just because she's Native and she's doing what a Native's doing. She's doing it what's right for the land, what's right for the people. All of the American citizens will benefit from protection of sacred places. All of the American people will benefit from having clean water. All of the American people will benefit from having clean air without toxics blown into the air through the fracking system. All Americans will benefit from having land that is not dug up for coal. There are indigenous, how do we say it, Freddie? Indigenuality, meaning that we have wisdom, ancient wisdom. Freddie will bring out the ancestor, talking about the intelligence of the Native people that has been in this land for thousands and thousands of years. Our intelligence leads us to ways of being able to protect this land. We have ancient ways that we've been taught by ancestors how to protect the land. And all we're asking for is an opportunity to speak on that when we have an opportunity, when somebody wants to come near the sacred places. We want to have a voice in that matter, and we want to say no. We want to have a right to say no, and no means no. No means no. Just like when a woman is being ready to be attacked and she says no. No means no. Stealing land, no. Taking the sacred places, no. We want to also thank it's hard to talk about this, but in Canada with the movement, the Truth and Reconciliation movement, and helping all of the relatives, the lost Indigenous children, to find their way back homes. All of us are affected by that. All of us who have relatives who have been in a boarding school. My own mother was in a boarding school. My own grandmother was in a boarding school. And even though I never been to a boarding school myself, I feel the trauma of what it was like to have parents that were unable to teach me in the traditional way because of the trauma that they experienced. And so gratefully I have the aunties and those who were able to help me to survive with that separation, as many of us are doing. But we have more work to do. We have more work in this unity. We have more work to work cooperatively. We have to ask the government to understand that the indigenous voices have a place in a government. My brother-in-law will talk about how the United States Constitution was written under the model of the indigenous people. And that's why the United States government has more order when they conduct business than the European governments that are still conducting business over there with their ways. So right now, I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing us to come here. Thank you for your hospitality. Thank you for all of the love. And yes, Crystal, we do feel it, and we want to thank you for that. Thank you for everything to all of our relatives here. We're very humbled by this time to be here. Haishka. In honor of missing and murdered Indigenous woman, grandmother. Praise for all of her children. Grandmothers are raising their grandchildren now because sometimes the women must leave the home because of abuse. Sometimes the women are unable to take care of their children because of that 7th-generation trauma that we're all healing from. I myself was raised by a grandmother. So, thank you, Crystal.
Okay, yeah, it's an honor to tie that on there. Just at this moment, as she was talking about women, just want to call forth, someone that I really look up to. And, Nick acknowledged her earlier as well. She's on our board and, someone that I've long had a lot of respect for. And we always run into each other in many different places, many different organized spaces. And I always really appreciate her knowledge and her sharing and the way she does things and how, everything that she does, it happens. Once she sets her intention that way and things just happen. Even just this like to DC, right? And it's a big undertaking, but anytime, Judith says she's going to do something, that happens. And so just want to call forward Judith and see if she can share a few words with us, about larger context of this and our relationship to each other.
Honey wash day. My name is Judith LeBlanc. I'm a citizen of the Caddo Nation of Oklahoma, and I have a Boston accent, which everybody teases me about, especially here. I'm the director of the Native Organizers Alliance, but really my hat is with NDN. It's my family. I told people last night, I smoked my first cigarette. Don't do that. But I smoked my first cigarette, and I learned how to drive a truck at Pine Ridge. And I learned many more things about how to live how to fight, how to show that we are stronger than everything that has been put up against us. And I want to say to the House of Tears, I am so honored and humbled to be a part of this journey. Freddie Lane called me in November and he said, we got to take a totem pole. We got to do this. And I said, Skoden, let's do it. And what we have done is to bring 17 nations together who've been working since the beginning of time to protect their sacred places. The Arctic, Mauna Bristol Bay, Thacker Pass, on and on. We have countless sacred places, but we brought 17 nations together with the power of this totem and the power and what the House of Tears has given to us as medicine. So I just want to say I am honored to be here in Hesapa. I hold all of you in my heart as we ride those metal horses in this spirit ride to DC. I believe that the impact that this movement is building is going to bring about transformational change. We're going to defend, but we're going to do more than that. We're going to develop. We're going to do more than that. We are going to indigenize. Yes. And when you have women, our women leading the Department of Interior, the National Parks Department, on every level, there are Indian women. You know what they told us this past week? They said, we thank you for this totem and this journey and coming to DC, because now people know Indian people, Indian women are a part of governing. Our voice not only counts, but it leads. So, thank you. Howie.
That was only 5 minutes.
Judith was on point on her timing on that. But now we have politicians coming up here. But we made it strategic that you have to speak in the sun. We figured that having them speak in the sun, it really shortens what they have to say. I wanted to share real briefly that this land that we're standing on here, this land was land that was reclaimed. It was reclaimed through the boarding school lands project when they started finding our children. And there's a big project happening here in the Hesapa, in Rapid City, to reclaim some of these lands. And this particular piece was a piece of land that was taken from us a long time ago and put into the government property. And then our people reclaimed it through their hard work and their sacrifice. And there's a woman who worked really, really hard named Heather Dawn Thompson to help make that happen, and a whole team of people that worked with her. And whenever we needed a place to create a place for our unhoused relatives to be, it came to our attention that this land that we're standing on was reclaimed, and that it was put in title back to our people, and it was put in the title of 3 different tribes: the Oglala Sioux tribe, the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe, and the Rosebud Sioux tribe. But here's the catch: on that title, it says on behalf of the Osheti Shakoi, and that's a huge political statement for our people, because here we have, grassroots efforts that helped reclaim this piece of land. Then you had official, federally recognized tribes hold title to it, but on behalf of the Osheti Shakoi, which is our traditional government. And so that's this place here is a result of all this work that we're talking about. It's not figurative. It's actually in action. And so, we have members representing those 3 tribes here today. And some of the work that we're doing with NDN Collective is working collaboratively with these tribes. And eventually, a few years from now, this land, this little area that we're on, it's going to be a place that provides permanent supportive housing for our unsheltered relatives, to treat them like human beings and to take care of them. And there's a whole team of people that are working on that. So at this time, I was going to ask my Kahanshi, Ryman Lebo, to say some words on behalf of the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe. And I told them, it's okay. Most of the people here can't vote for you, so it'll be all right. You don't have to go on for too long. So at this time, if we could give a hand to Kahanshi Ryman Lebo.
Unless he's running for governor. Jeez.
Hamadaki api, Yuha Chante Washte Nape choose up low. Wichasha Yamani Macha, Bogo Wichasha Hemacha, District 5. I'm a councilman for Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe, and I welcome the Lummi Nation. I welcome them for bringing our relative and sharing our relative with all of us. We say Danyan Yahi, and our prayers are going to be with you, and we're happy that you brought this to our sacred homelands here in Hesapa. And I thank the NDN Collective for inviting me. I really like coming to meetings like this with where we're going to learn something, we're going to do something. And at this meeting, we're hearing from our relatives from the Lummi Nation, and they brought their relative with us to us. So we're happy and we're thankful for what they're doing. And so with these meetings, I know Nick said that you can't vote for me, so but yeah, we're gonna change that. I got a resolution, so we're gonna take that back to our next council session. But yeah, this is actually my first time coming out here, and it's pretty nice when you come out here. You drive through Rapid, and then you take a couple of rights and a left, and pretty soon you're not in Rapid no more. You're in Hesapa. So that was a real treat for me, a real eye opener. And I was part of the group that had worked on this and getting this land returned to us. And like Nick said, this was a project taken up by Heather Don Thompson and community members, just lawyers and researchers. And they looked in, they met with the community here in Rapid, and the community was saying, this is our land, this is part of us, this is part of the boarding school land. So then they researched that, and that's what came to be, and it was. And this parcel of land was actually under control of a federal board called NDN Arts and Crafts Board, or something like that. And I was repping from my tribe, Cheyenne River Sioux tribe, and we were always at these meetings over a whole year, probably longer than that, passing resolutions and just going to these meetings and meeting with the board, meeting with BIA, meeting with Interior, and in the final days of the Obama administration, they got it done. They signed it over to us, and this is always has been our land, but in their way, it's our land again. So we did that through unity. We did that from tribes working together. Oglala, Rosebud, Cheyenne River, we all had to come together, and Oglala had to admit that Cheyenne River is the ones that lead the charge, but that wasn't too hard for them, I don't think. But and it was the community and the tribes that worked together to get this done. And this is what I see today, is having this unity with the Lummi Nation, unity with this relative behind me. And we can get a lot done. We can continue our fight for clean water, to protect Unchimaka. We can defeat these pipelines like we defeated the Keystone XL pipeline. We all did this. We all did this because we're all together, have this unity. And from what I understand, this Chamakan, this relative, is gonna go to Washington D.C. and it's gonna stand there. It's gonna be there with our relative Deb Haaland, the Secretary of Interior. And it was said earlier, you know, it does remind me of Tree Day, of Sundance. And right now it's Sundance season, and you know, there's a flatbed and a pickup, and you know, you're gonna get the tree. So, and just like when we stand that tree to start our Sundance, you know, we tie our prayers upon it, and that tree stands there for the whole year, for our people, holding our prayers to the Creator. And I see the same thing here when they stand this relative behind me, this totem pole in Washington D.C. It's going to hold our prayers all year long. And who better to look over that than Deb Haaland? So we're happy that this is happening today. And you know, speaking of Deb Haaland, you know, I really think some of our prayers are answered with her appointment, because after all the history and all the things that the Indian people have been through, who better to put another native in there to watch over the lands, not only our lands but all the federal lands throughout Turtle Island. So, you know, who better to put a grandma, a mother, an auntie, a sister to watch over our lands, to protect Unchimaka than Deb Haaland, one of our own. So I really think the prayers are being heard, are being answered. And I'm thankful that we have this gathering today, and good to see everybody. And I just wanted to give you a shout out for all the community awareness that NDN Collective is doing with their land back campaign. And I like those flags; they're pretty nice. And I like the flag that you guys put up in Rapid City. That was an awesome thing. And I didn't even know about it. I seen the Facebook invite, but I found out about it. My son, he's 17. He was on Instagram, and then he said, "Hey, Dad, look at they put an American flag upside down, and right here in Rapid City." And I was like, "Wow!" And I think he was more excited about that than I was. And that was telling for me, because you know, as a parent, you worry about your child and if you're raising them right. And for him to be so excited and so proud of for our relatives who put that upside down flag up on July 4th, you know, that was really telling for me, really special to me. So I really thank you for doing that, and I appreciate all of you. And we're going to continue this campaign to get our lands back, just like we got this land that we stand upon back. And we're going to go after, you know, with Deb Haaland in there and Lexi Biden's, you know, we're gonna be working the system to do all we can to get all our lands back. It's really a special thing to see how this all turned out. Been doing the homeless camp up here, and you know, that what better use than that to use for this land that we did get returned. So I just want to thank you for inviting me and bringing me here today. I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate bringing their Chamakan to us and allowing us to send our prayers with you and with it to Washington, D.C. And I thank you for this journey that you're making. And I know our prayers will be with you. So with that, Midak Yapi, Midak Yansi.
Can we give another round of applause for Raymond LeBeau? For those of you that can vote, the election's coming up. It's a pretty good one. So maybe we'll get you guys registered for the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe election. At this time, I want to ask one of my relatives to speak on behalf of the Sichangu. Phil Tuigle is the executive director of the Sichangu Treaty Council, and he's been working really hard to continue to organize the Treaty Council in the Sichangu and bringing other treaty councils together to help fight for our land. And it was pretty powerful to be part of a meeting that he hosted that brought together different treaty councils, different IRA governments, different societies, and different grassroots people recently, and that work is continuing on. So at this time, I'll ask Phil to share some words on behalf of the Sichangu.
I shake your hands with a good heart. And welcome the Lumi Nation to the Hesapa, the sacred Hesapa, the land of the Ocheti Shakongwe, to bring this Chawaka, Chawa Wasku, Akon Wasku, to our area. In our treaty work, when you talk about the treaties made with the U.S. government, you got to go further back than that. We have the 1851 and 1868 treaty that was signed at Fort Laramie, Wyoming. And that secured land within a 5-state region of in the middle of Ochete Shakongwe homeland. It's just a small percentage of our original homelands, but still it was a 5-state area, and it still was supposed to be for our use, where we're supposed to live, hunt, and survive and thrive. But when we talk about land like this land here, it's nice. I'm thankful for the work of the Heather and all of the organizations that were involved here in Rapid City, but you have to remember it was our grandfathers that went to Fort Laramie to sign the treaty for this land right here. It was them that secured this land. And what's even more powerful is something that I call our inherent sovereignty. That is more powerful than anything, is our Lakota language, history, and culture. How we have been living for thousands of years. That is what's powerful. That is why we're organizing the Ocheti Shakongwe to come back together, light the fires again, teach the children, speak Lakota to them. So in the future, we talk about that Chokata Kawichoichage, Oichage Shakongwe, the future generations, the 7 generations. What we do today has to benefit the 7 generations. That's over 500 years. That's what our grandfathers thought about. Making decisions today that will help our future generations, the unborn, 500 years from now. And that's what the treaty councils, originally the treaty councils formed because after the treaties were signed, they saw something wrong. When I talk about when we go back into history, we're talking about a race of people that came here under something we call the Papa Bulls. The Europeans were instructed to come here, to take possession of lands, to kill our people, to enslave our people, and to Christianize us. But you know what's more powerful than that is that inherent sovereignty that I just talked about, our ceremonies, our language, our history, our societies, the songs, the singers. For every occasion, I'm sure there's a song that we can sing. And the singers, they're very astute. They will watch what's going on. And they'll sing that proper song when it's time. That is powerful too. Lots and lots of protocols within our Lakota ceremonial ways We also have Tehincha Soe, the white buffalo calf woman. She brought the chanupa to us and told us how to take care of it, to take care of each other. The ceremonies, use all 7 ceremonies. Don't use just 4 of them, use all of them. And the women have their ceremonies too that need to be revived. But I can't talk about those, only the women can talk about those. And the young men, I've always said, the Lakota nations, the young men need to go on the hill now. Hamblecha. As parents, as fathers, we have to put our young sons, when the time, when they reach, their voices change, they have to go on the hill. There's a reason for this. A lot of our medicine men have took the journey. A lot of our elders have took the journey. Very few left now. That's why our men need to go on the hill now. One of them might have a gift to help the people in the future. And then we talk about the cycle of life for our children, for all of us. Each of you have a spirit inside of you. We know where we came from in the Big Dipper, the black hole that we came through there. We visit the Agaleshka or the Kea, the lizard or the turtle constellation. We arrived on Earth as a male or female, and we entered this Tiwahe, this family that we belong to. Then we're part of a Tioshpaya. This is the traditional Lakota government. Tiwahe, Tioshpaya, Oshpaya, Oyate, Ocheti Shakon. That's what we have to get back to. In order for us to survive in the future, we have to come together. This Chanwa Khan here represents unity across Keawita, Turtle Island. And the Wolakota is the ability to make allies, to become friends, and have respect for each other and each other's ways. Practice the Lakota laws, they call it Lakota values. All of these are makes us highly organized, highly structured, highly principled people that we have to reach wisdom. So that someday when it's our time, we can take the spirit journey and find that road back to the stars where our relatives are waiting for us. It's that during this time in your lifetime, in this cycle of life, you go from infancy to youth, to adulthood, to elderly, and that's a full cycle of life. That's when we go back to where we came from, to do the deeds that we need to do during our lifetime here, during this journey. We're having problems at home with our young men. Drugs and meth, alcohol, suicide, gangs. And we have the solutions here all along. That's within our language and our ceremonies. They lost their way. We need to bring them back to the circle. And that's what we're doing here today, bringing everybody to the circle. It's not easy to work on the treaty issues. It's hard, it's difficult, but we need to unite, like with NDN Collective, the treaty councils, the IRA councils. We all need to work together now. So those of you that can come to Bismarck on August 10th to 12th, we'll have another Ochete Shakoy Omanichie. We have submitted a letter to the White House asking the President Joe Biden to meet with us here in the sacred Black Hills. We asked him to meet with us at Peshla, the center of the Black Hills, the center of the universe. If that happens, we have to get ready. We want to create a new 21st century relationship with the United States of America. So that we want them to honor the treaties that they signed with us, with our grandfathers. We have to control the narrative now. United States, stop dealing with, for our people, stop dealing with the state governments. We have no business dealing with the state governments. Our treaty is with the United States and with our native nations. Look, in South Dakota, we have a governor that's trying to do fireworks on the Black Hills. That's their priorities. And something's happening that is more powerful than us. It's Ojimaka, Mother Earth. And they call it global warming. The Washichu cannot take care of Mother Earth. They're neglecting it, so she's getting hotter and hotter. We're in a drought right now. They're not capable of taking care of Mother Earth because something that goes way back in history, and it's called racism and greed. They want the resources here from the Hesapa. You have uranium mining, you have gold mining, there's oil and gas projects in Wyoming here on treaty territory, pipelines, and then the state of South Dakota issues water permits or mining permits on treaty land. We need to stop all that. We need to save the Hesapa. This is our altar. This is where we pray. This is our sentence. This is our hochoka. So, one last thing. I want to propose that we build a hotel and convention center here. Did you see the hotel rates during the summer? So we're going to get a planning team together and work with the tribes. Let's build our own hotel here. Maybe 500 rooms, 1,000 rooms hotel. And this is going to be another proposal, is to create a headquarters for the Ocheti Shakoi here. So we can take care of our land. And I want to remember all the treaty men that have took the journey. They were in this fight all their lives. And a lot of our treaty council, remember, they came from the traditional chiefs. But after they signed the treaties, they've been turned into the treaty councils that have been carrying the fight, the struggle, to preserve the land, to preserve the language, the history, and the culture of the Ocheti Shakoi. So when you hear treaty council, those are the descendants of the chiefs that signed the treaties at Fort Laramie. Now, the treaty council, the IRA government, we're all working together now. We have to bring it back together and move forward together. Hawaii and Piccolo, Mitaki Oyasi.
Before we have a representative from the Oglala Sioux tribe come up here, we're gonna end up having the fifth member of the Oglala Sioux tribe here, Justin Puyer, is gonna share a few words on behalf of the tribe. But as things go, I wanted to acknowledge different people in the crowd here that are leaders amongst our people, and I wanted to acknowledge Kui Lula Red Cloud, and we're gonna hopefully hear some words from her a little bit later. And also I wanted to acknowledge my Lekshi Earl Tall and the Tokala Society sitting in the back there. Lekshi Brian Brewer, you know, former leader of the Oglalas, and you know, these societies are coming back, and the Tokala Society plays an important role, and so it feels real good to have our Lekshis and the other members of the Tokala Society here. So I just wanted to acknowledge them as we keep moving forward today. So at this time, again, we heard from the Sichongus, we heard from the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe, and now we're going to hear from the wild Oglalas. And, Justin Booyer, I'll call him Chie, he's my older brother. We prayed together many years in different ways, and we probably would have never thought, gee, he's the fifth member of the Oglala Sioux tribe. Who would have known? But it's these types of things that the fifth member does on behalf of our people, is to come to things like this and to represent our tribe. And so at this time, I ask Justin to share a few words.
Napete washte, yuhas chate washte, napete yusapalo. Dasai cha ho washte, imachap, na just to put your imachap. Oglala Lakota, wakichuze, izapta. Yacha. Before I go any further, I'd like to excuse myself in front of my elders that were sitting out here for me speaking in front of you like this. You have more years of experience with life and more education, but as an elected official, I get called on for things like this. You know, this invitation I got with Misu Nick called me the other day, invited me to come up and talk about this Shawaka here. I did a lot of thinking about it, a lot of praying, and first thing I come up with, you know, was, like Nick said, all the years I weave, all the years and all the days that we spent under the sun, and he set it up to where we have to stand under the sun to talk. But yet he comes dressed in trunks and a sleeveless t-shirt. He told us to dress good and presentable, but he didn't realize that, you know, Gahashi, Ryman, and Chie, Phil, I think they've all spent their days under the sun praying to it too. So it's good to feel that strength, especially when we're up here in the Black Hills. You know, this as this has passed through our territory, that the energy and the prayers that we put into this, that when it gets to DC, that it protects and it guides the Secretary of Interior, Deb Haaland. Not only her, but all the ones that are there that have a heart for the indigenous community. We do have other natives and people of color in positions up there to make good decisions for us. So, you know, as we put our prayers into this big brother here, that it, you know, it goes, and the people that are hauling it, the people that presented it, the people who made it, that our prayers from the Lakota community go into that as protection for your future travels across this Turtle Island. As it comes to the Black Hills, you know, we talk about how sacred the Black Hills is to us. You know, the origins of our people coming from Wind Cave. The prayers, the spring ceremonies that we follow from the star constellations, from the teachings of that were passed down through generations, going to Black Elk Peak to do our ceremony there, to go to Peshla to do our ceremonies there, to go to Devil's Tower, Medicine Wheel, Bear Butte. You know, this area is sacred to the Lakota people and all the surrounding tribes. And what the white man is doing to it up here, you know, the big mine that they left up in Lead, just a big open pit that they left. That's like a big gaping wound in Mother Earth. And all this other stuff that they're taking from her up here, that we got to continuously fight and, try to put a stop to it. And, as a Lakota, the teachings that we have, how sacred things are to us. Everything we do is sacred. These trees are sacred. These rocks are sacred. This grass, everything has a spirit. And this Chawaka right here carries a spirit. He made himself known to people. So I want to send our prayers to DC with this. And, I want to thank Nick, NDN Collective, everybody else that brought this together. It's a beautiful day to be Lakota. I also want to thank the drum group for bringing their songs. As Phil mentioned, everything we do has a song tied to it. And as a singer, those songs are put in you. And as Phil's mentioned, as they're sitting there, they're paying attention to everything that is said. And in their mind, they're going through, maybe this guy's going to call for a song. So as a singer, you carry that. And that's another teaching. And every other society that we have, everybody has their role in our communities. And it's us to, as adults growing up, it's us to teach our kids what their role is. The big thing is staying sober and staying off drugs and getting your education. With all of that, getting our language back, getting everything else, we can all be strong again. So with that, I'd like to wish everybody a good day and we talk yesterday.
Okay, at this time, I want to call forward my mom, or my parents, my mom first, and then my dad. So my mom, Lynette Tubles, and my dad, Philip Whiteman Jr. And they have a nonprofit called Yellowbird Lifeways. And so we talk about reclaiming land, and this is the work that we're doing. And also we have to be building and relearning a lot of these ways and these things on the land that sometimes we have forgotten or have been stripped from us, right, because of trauma and because we've been forcefully removed. And so with their nonprofit, they do a lot of that work in our community in Lame Deer. My mom runs a food sovereignty program, and this year, it's probably as a result of COVID, they ended up, we usually do between like maybe 10 and 15 raised garden beds for our community every year. And then we also help run programming and plant and provide soil and fertilizer and build that and build fences around them. So we do about 10 to 15 every year. And then this year, they built 90 garden beds for our community because people in our community are reconnecting back to that. So I'll hand the mic over and let her share about some of the programming that they have and what is possible when we reclaim our land.
Thank you, Crystal. Mitakiapi, chante washe na pechusapi, na tuwenyakiapi mia. My traditional name is Scouts the Way Woman, which was given to me by my grandparents Matthew and Nellie Tubles. Many of you probably know them, know who they are, and I was very blessed and fortunate to have been raised by them until I became a teenager, and then I moved away to Montana. And I'm a grandmother, a mother, auntie, sister, and those are the responsibilities I hold in my heart, and those are my greatest responsibilities. As women, one of our greatest responsibility is to nurture our people and to uplift our families and our communities and our people. And so that's the responsibility I hold really close to my heart here. And I just want to thank my daughter for asking me to come up and share here. And I want to acknowledge all of the elders that are out there and all of our people important people that have come to represent and to come and share. And it's a real honor to be here in the Black Hills, the Hesapa. And, you know, it's like coming home. I've been away for a long time. I live in Lame Deer, Montana with my companion, who is one of the chiefs of the Northern Cheyenne people. And as a chief's family, we have a responsibility to help the people. So everything that we do through our nonprofit Yellowbird Lifeways is about helping the people, empowering the people, feeding the people, reconnecting the people back to the land, language, culture, identity. And to me, seeing all these land back signs, that's what land back means to me, is that reconnection, reclaiming, reminding us of our sacredness, reminding us of our connection to the land. And that's a strong connection. We're connected to the land like we were connected to our mother through our umbilical cord. That's how strong the connection is. And so everything that we do, you know, the food sovereignty Crystal mentioned about, you know, that's part of land back, is food sovereignty, reconnecting back to our food systems, back to what grows on Mother Earth. Mother Earth provides everything that we need. She provides us that food, the medicines, everything. And this sacred piece of wood here that is traveling, you know, across this country, bringing attention to our connection to the land and our sacred sites. You know, it's very humbling to be in front of this and to just hear the description of everything on this and what it means. And to listen, you know, I sat back there, we arrived a little bit late, I sat back there and listened. And it just really touched my heart because those are reminders that we need to hear. So this is a reminder to us that we have a responsibility to the land, to our children. And I heard people talking about the 7 generations. We have a responsibility to the next 7 generations. And our people always looked at that. We always, when we pray for those that are not here yet. And we pray for those, you know, the next 7 generations. That's what that means. And, you know, I'm Oglala Lakota. I'm also Cheyenne. And I lived, you know, amongst the Cheyenne people. While Philip tells me, he said, you're Cheyenne now. But I'm still kind of hanging on to my Lakota side. So, but, you know, those are my people too. And I love our people and our community. And so I work really hard to uplift them. And talking about this is emotional. You know, and as women, that's our gift. We care. We're connected to our emotions and our feelings and our heart and our spirit. And so I just, you know, want to say that much. I'll call Philip up here. And I want to thank Crystal. I want to thank all of NDN Collective and the work that they're doing, the important work that they're doing. You know, and to see all of the young people stepping into their responsibilities, taking on, you know, that responsibility. It makes my heart happy, makes me feel good. It makes me have hope for the future to see these young people stepping up into that. And it tells me that my generation, we must have done something good. You know, we must have instilled in them what we needed to so they can continue on. And everything that we do, we try to focus on what we're for. We try to focus on the good. We try to focus on what's ahead, all of the good that's coming. Because wherever you focus, that's where you're going to end up. So I just want to encourage everybody that is doing this work. You know, let's focus ahead. Let's focus on where we want to end up. Let's focus on all of those dreams and all of the good things that we have in mind that we're planning for in the future for the next 7 generations. Oh, mitakiase.
Yeah, it's mom. Okay, I just want to call up my nehoe, my dad, to come up and maybe share a little bit with us, just our connection and our relationship to the land. And you know, he's who taught me that, my parents. So I have a lot of gratitude today for them showing up and being here. So thank you.
Yo, it's not there. No, it's it. That's it. No, listen. No, it's the storm. More of the more. No, it's a ducky. So, no, thought, this is the omanet. It also is. So. No, that Paul and this does. Look at the middle. What's the matter? What's done now? My what am I talks now? My it's about hey. Say hi, Scottish gonna. Yes, that's it. It's in the house now. My what's done here? I could just keep on talking, Cheyenne. I don't think any of you guys will understand me. And when I speak my language, I gotta watch what I say, especially on Mother Earth and under the sun, 24/7. I gotta watch what I say. And this language that we're speaking, this universal language, English, German, whatever you want to call it, it's convoluted. And I didn't know what that word meant. And I really struggled in school. They said I was a slow learner, dummy, and borderline retarded, and all of the above. And I was introduced to the #1 management in the institute, education. It's called Shane. And the generational effects of historical trauma and where we're at today. This language, I like using this language. I like talking politics. I like gossiping, and I like all that good stuff. I invented a word that's called reservation-itis, and I can lie honestly. I can go to sleep at night. I can wake up in the morning and feel good about myself. But if I use my language, it holds me accountable. Spirits, they're listening. My mother's listening. My father's listening. So I would try to be real careful on what I say using my language. And today, I think they've done a survey. Over 80% of our Cheyenne people are under the age of 25. After COVID, we lost a lot of language. We lost a lot of culture. And a lot of the 80%, they're educated. They got no language no more. No spiritual connection to the land. And I once heard that without language, without spiritual connection to land, without culture, you are not who you say you are. And today, when I get up every morning and I start using this language to assimilate, and so I can learn how to accept myself and in this system of shame, and to be the best that I can be in this system. It's a hierarchy. It's a power structure, and you got to be somebody to be heard. And today I was sitting back there, I see all these smart people here. Seems like I don't belong here. I'm not educated. The education that I received growing up was my grandfather, my grandmother talking language to me. How the Milky Way, the stars, astrology, quantum physics, quantum entanglement, all of that. The earth, the water, the air, the storms, the buffalo, the horse, Mo'anha, Hadua, Mahut, all of that. The language gave me connection to it. I am the air, I am the land, I am the water, I am the four-legged. I'm all of that. And no eminent domain, no dominion, no ownership. I want you to inhale peace and then exhale love. And what we're looking for is a revolution. And we're looking at evolution. And here, all that time, our culture and our language, it has the solution. And then I heard story. I guess I heard story. Oh, here we go. Testing.
I'll get you another mic. Where are the mics?
Rapid City, they had no electricity. Now we've got no electricity here.
Thanks for everyone who's joining us. Get the mic. Here we go.
Good morning. 1, 2, 3. Good morning. I woke up at day's end this morning, and can you guys hear me? Hello. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. Check it. Hello. 1, 2, 3. Oh, right. I woke up at this day's end this morning, and there was some India people that behind the counter. I looked at them. I said, "We didn't pay for electricity this month." They said, No. We got electricity. But I was sharing a little bit. Maybe I might talk too much. I'm really proud of Crystal and Nick. Crystal said, I want to bring Nick over to the home, and we're going to invite him to the Medicine Deer Rock. And then we even sweat with Taylor. And so I share with them the best I can. When I was growing up, Russell Means, Dennis Banks, they Henry Green Crow, a lot of those, during that time, they hang around at the house. My father used to come to the Knuckle and Bear Law and sing Sundance songs. And those guys, they gather over there. I got a painter, his name is Austin Tumuns. And he's my instructor. And here, I think it was in 76, they had a big gathering. And then they went over to the battlefield. And I think his name was George Magpie. He must have been a welder. He cut out the memorial site. And then later on, they invited my dad to Denver. I guess they're gonna create memorial site at battlefield. And he was all ready to sing, but somebody else got up and sang. And my mother said, "It's all right. We got a good trip over here, spend the night at Hilton, and then we got to experience this." Well, my dad, he was kind of disappointed, but it's all right. And one time, I was way up in Canada. We do horse demonstrations. Know when to step back, know when to step forward, know when to turn away, know when to bow down, and know when to move your shoulders, know when to know where to look at a horse, know where not to look at a horse. We were just doing some real common sense stuff. And then old fella sitting there, he said, "I don't come to any of these, but I'm glad I came to this one." He said, and this was after 3 days of sitting there. He'd be first one there, last one to leave. And then we had talk in circle. Here he said, I guess there was this man. He came to this big old building. And these birds were sitting on the rafters. And these birds, they're walking around. So they started visiting with them. And pretty soon, them birds, they tell them about their grandparent, their parent. Long time ago when they used to be able to soar and fly. But now they're just kind of walking around. And so this man, he took one of them and he started teaching it how to fly again. And pretty soon that little bird, that chick, take a little flight, come back to that man. That man would pet him and show him praise, encouragement. So that little bird flew a little bit longer and come back. And then pretty soon some of those other birds came over and they started flying. And pretty soon they started doing tricks, spinning, turning, twisting, ducking and diving. Man, they just flying all over the place inside that building. And then at the end of the day, he told them that I'm going to leave this door open and you guys can leave anytime you want to. So here, I guess those birds, they just stayed there. Next morning, that man come back, they're still all in there waiting for him. And then pretty soon they start flying again, doing tricks, doing things they used to do back in the day. And then finally he told them, all right, now I want you guys to go out that door and don't come back here. And I want you guys to go on out there. But they're all looking at him. But they all agreed. So finally, they lined up and they all walked out of that building. And he said, when Christianity, boarding schools, this residential schools and this reserves first started implementing in our people, they killed a lot of our children. They mean to us. And now we're doing that to our own selves. And a lot of our young people, they're educated. They can fly, they can soar, but they walk out that building and they're programmed now. And so here, this man was telling me that story. And the reason why I want to share it with you, I was watching, and I read a book somewhere about a man named Charles Eastman. How he was civilized, how he was Christianized, how he was educated, how he became once called a savage, and then now he's an educated person. And he was utilized to help create Berkeley Law and Dawes Act. And that's how I ended up with this name, White Man. My grandfather's name was Vihuk, and he was the first half-breed that come to our people, and they named him Spider, Vihuk. And he was there, helped Cheyennes around Fort Laramie, 1868. He was at Sand Creek. He was at the Wounded Knee. And this whole story about him. And my great-grandfather, my grandfather, and my dad, and now there's me. And we're not that far off nomadic. We're not that far off that time. And they came and allotted our land. He came and gave my grandfather Indian name, English name. They call him Aaron, little white man. And pretty soon they gave him a plow, they gave him army blankets. Well, they've done a lot to our people to civilize us, to assimilate us. And when this Charles Eastman had an awakening after Wounded Knee, and what he was, how he was used, and it like, he come to a Y, he come to a fork. And I feel that that's where we're all at today. We might be educated, we might be smart, but our ways, our language, our connection to Mother Earth, it holds the wisdom of the universe. And the future is not the survival of the fittest. It's going to be survival of the wisest. And me, I'm not into fighting. I can fight, because I had to learn to fight, not to fight. And I'm not into hate, because hate can't not defeat hate. Only love can. And it might sound like I'm from the hippie days. I kind of spilled CBD ointment on my pants this morning. But I think that this systematic system, this IRA government, BIA, this United States Constitution, all of it, it's designed to do what it's doing. And it was not intended to do what it's doing. Because I got a friend over there, his name's Oren Lyons, and they had the wampum belt. And he told me, it's not supposed to be like this. That eagle holding those arrows. Cheyennes are known as arrow people. And then that leaf, that peace. There's no solution in fighting. And we have to have passive resistance. Like at the Medicine Deer Rock, our people were told not to take lives. You don't cause bloodshed on your relatives. And today where I'm at, and I used to have a good friend, his name is Albert Whitehat. And I went and he said, come, and you're going to talk to the kids. And we're going to learn about your horse demo. So I went there, and he said, I see that your colors are in a different direction. Yeah, I said, I see that your colors are in a different direction also too. He said, can you explain to me? I said, well, I can try, but I think you guys are offset. Backwards. And so I shared with him why white, southeast, why red, southwest, why yellow, northwest, why black, northeast. And then he shared me with his colors. And we focused on our differences first. And then he said something to me. He said, just think we're one. When we look at what we have in common, we're one. And that's one thing I learned about Albert. His love was unconditional. And I guess that those colors, they represent two-legged, four-legged, six, eight-legged, sky, land, underneath the ground, in the water. I guess they represent even humankind. I guess that I heard somebody talk about bringing light into the center of the Black Hills. Nobody never notifies the Cheyennes. Cheyenne origin story of astrology, even the black hole, even the stars, our Mother Earth, our Mother the Creator, the Great Race, Bear Buttes, Bear Lodge, and there's other sites here that Cheyennes were forced to leave. This is their place of origin. And then too, whoever named us Cheyenne and Sioux and Arapaho must have been really smart, because when you name and label somebody, it'll keep them separate. I get kind of ashamed because I was brought up in a system of shame when I hear my people saying I'm a proud Cheyenne. It makes me sad, because those are the differences that keep us in bondage. And when you look at our differences, when you see in others what you dislike in yourselves, it's coming from that system that educated us and that pays us and that honors us and recognizes us for keeping this cancer alive, this mind virus. And to me, I must have been cursed to be raised with grandparents that still spoke language, that had no eminent domain, no dominion. My grandfather had 4 companions and no ownership, no eminent domain, nothing to fight for, nothing to kill for, everything to live for. I must have been cursed, because I'm in a dilemma right now. Listening this morning, we got a lot to fight for. This is our land. To me, that's foreign. And that's the reason why I like English, because I can lie to you guys honestly. We don't have no dominion. We don't have no ownership. This beautiful artwork, this beautiful covenant, this beautiful, beautiful message that's going to be taken to this lady that's administrating this genocide, this lady that's administrating historical trauma, this lady that's administrating and represent this genocide. This beautiful artwork is going to go to her. You cannot cry. You cannot cry on the shoulders of the man that stole your land. That's what I heard one time. I went to a 7th generation gathering, and there was a man there that was talking like that. You cannot cry on the shoulders of the person that stole your land. And when Dennis Banks and Russell Means used to come to the house, I was just a kid then. Austin Two Moons and all those guys. And we went to Denver, that first AIM gathering out there. My dad took 2 Cheyenne songs, they turned them into AIM songs. And we used to have Henry Greencrow from Minnesota, Dennis Banks, some guys. And to me, I saw this once. Kind of reminds me of what is it? What's that guy that sings Creedence? Deja Vu? I think I've been through this once before. I love you guys, and there's nothing you can do about it. Don't get stuck in the fight. This beautiful artwork that's going to remind that woman of her duties, either to administrate more of the same or to take a higher level. There's no claiming. There's no reclaiming. The Creator put us here. There's no fight. There's no win in the fight. Reclaim yourself. Reclaim your language. Our language has the cure, it has the solution, it has the vaccine. It has everything. But you don't need me to tell you that, because all of you guys got common sense. I want to sing a song, and I hope I didn't say anything to disrespect myself or the organizers or anybody. But sometimes it takes extreme action for extreme condition. And I learned to box. And sometimes you gotta know when to throw a punch, know when to step back. I rode bucking horses, and I know when to let go and nod and ride. All that thinking, all those good intentions, all that time sitting in the chute, it ain't gonna do no good. You gotta nod and ride. And maybe that's what this Crystal and Nick, maybe that's what they're all about. And I honor them, because I saw this once before. It's almost like a deja vu. hey, oh, yo, hey, I sing that song to my good friend, and I told him that that's our song. He said, that's our song, the Sioux people. And I said, no, that's our song. He said, come on now. And I said, well, what does Midaki mean? We are relatives. Those are our songs.
Wait, whose songs are those? Hey. I want to say Wopula for the songs and for all of the wisdom that was been shared today. You know, there's been a lot of good things that were shared, and I just kind of want to share how the rest of the time is going to go here. First of all, we have in the back, we have Edwina fills the pipe, and she's doing body work, especially for the folks that have been traveling. The folks who have been traveling on this journey, it's one of the ways that we wanted to look after you and care for you. So when you get a chance throughout the day, any time over the next couple hours, make your way back. And there's some healing work going on, especially if you're sitting in these cars for a long time. We're gonna hear from one of our Ikanchas, one of our chiefs here in a few minutes. And then after that, we're gonna share a meal prayer. And then after that, we're going to feed the people. And then after we eat, I ask people, a lot of times we eat and then we head to Deadwood or wherever we end up going to. So I ask people after we eat to stay, because we're gonna do some final words from some of our elders, final prayers and blessings, and we're gonna send off this Chanwaka and this carving family in a good way. So I encourage us all to stay till after we're done eating, and we'll close out in that way. So I know some people are like, what are we doing? How long do I have to sit in here burning up under the sun? So I wanted to explain a little bit about what we're doing here. But at this time, it's my honor to introduce somebody that I look up to. And I'm gonna introduce Chief Henry Red Cloud. And ask him to say a few words. He's a chief amongst our people from the Red Cloud family. But also he does all this great work for the people, running Lakota Solar Enterprises, has made a way for our people. And then recently, it came to my attention that he got an honorary doctorate degree from Washington College for public service in the service that he does on behalf of the people. And so he's honored both in our traditional Lakota way, and he's also honored in the way of academia. And so it's my great honor to share with you and to introduce to you Chief Henry Red Cloud.
Okay. I would like to give thanks to the Great Spirit for giving us a wonderful day and enabling us to gather here in the sacred Black Hills here. I would like to recognize the Lumbee Nation. Doug, back there, would you please stand up? His brother did the carving for us here as the gifts headed out to where the sun rises. So, thank you for that, for bringing the awareness and bringing all these important things to the forefront. I would like to recognize the NDN Collective for organizing and bringing us together and bringing us home here within the Hesapa. And then I would like to extend that on to each and every one of you. I would like to recognize the women's societies. And then I would like to recognize the Tokalas Society. as well as I would like to recognize the veteran societies that are here. And would like to recognize each and every one of you. You're very important. The different tribes, the representatives from across the Ocheti Ishakoin. I'd like to recognize you. And this is a wonderful thing to gather to bring awareness. My name's Henry Redcloud. I come from Machvialuta. I come from Redcloud in Kills Enemy. On my mother's side, I come from Ironheart and Ghost Bear. That's where I come from, and I represent the bad face band of the Oglalas. They're Tioshpa within the Oglalas. They say ugly face. That's where I come from. That's where my blood comes from. And so I'm very happy to be here, and would like to extend to the Ocheti Ishakoin that's here, welcome home. Lenny Kopi, this is yours. All that you see, it belongs to each and every one of you. The Ocheti Ishakoin, as well as the Cheyennes, the southern Cheyenne, as well as the Arapaho. There's many of us. We stretch from Minnesota to the Montana, Dakotas, down into Nebraska, clear on into Canada. There's many of us. Back in the day, we were united. And I would like to thank NDN Collective for bringing us together, because this is sparking that unification that we need to be. We need to be at. Because I feel, and I pray about it, and I feel that Hesapa is going to be returned to us. So we have to have a plan. We have to have unity, and then we have to have a plan. I talked to various, people, and they talked about the Ocheti Ishakoin co-managing the parks here. And that's our foot inside the door. It's been our ancestors, it's been well over 160 years trying to get our sacred land back. And I believe with the current administration out there to the east where the sun rises, they're going to be able to help us to achieve this. So within that time, let's start to organize. Let's start to unify. Let's start to come together. Because when these treaties were made, the boundary of the 1851 and the peace treaty of 1868, those grandfathers put their sacred pipes together. The grandmothers, they put their sacred pipes together and they offered prayer. They offered prayer that things are going to go back to the way that it used to be, coexisting with the earth again upon 7 generations. So we're at that there point now. We got the 7th generation crawling and walking amongst us. So it's really important that we start to unify as the nation, as the strongest nation that across the country here, especially the northern plains. The government has initiated 2 treaties. They initiated these. We didn't. The ancestors didn't. They initiated them. They wanted that. They put the boundary in place, which we all should stand behind. Then they put the peace treaty to not have war anymore, because our ancestors defeated the United States government on the battlefield. They wanted to initiate the peace. So it's been a battle for the ancestors ever since that time to current, today. There's been a few $1 billion offered to the tribes for this. Makocha. for the land here. But no. Tony, Hesapa ki will krab shnio. Never to sell the Black Hills. So today, that's where we're at. A unification coming together and approaching the current administration over there. I think we're going to get help. We're going to get some, what we need to do is get involved in co-managing the parks. With that, eventually the federal government's going to back off and it'll be us that will check the Ishak going. So I'm really happy to be here to see everybody here and seeing the younger ones here because, all of this is being done on behalf of your future generations. And it's really important that we look out and we take care of our women folk, from young to old. Within the past 4 or 5 months, 14 Native girls became missing here, right here within the Rapid City area. Don't know where they're at. Families looking for them. We all have, daughters, granddaughters. We have to start coming together and starting to look out for one another. Look out the, surrounding that you're in, wherever that you may be, Walmart, wherever. Look out. Always be on a lookout. I tell my daughters this. I got, 3 daughters living here in Rapid City here. They're working, they got young ones and that, and I'm always telling them, be careful, look around your surroundings. It's an important issue. It's not only happening here, but throughout Indian countries. There's 574 federally recognized tribes. This is happening throughout Indian countries. So it's time that we start to really buckle down and start to unify, come together, share one another, share things, support one another, because we're all experts. You're all experts. You're all good at something. And then bringing that together, it's just going to be ultimately strong. A lot of things can happen. A lot of things can get done. It's our responsibility as this current, generation. When they put their pipes together, the ancestors, and said the prayer on everything to be well and good within the Wichonchaka Ishakoi, the 7th-generation Hecha. So we're in that prayer. When they put their pipes together. So we don't want to be known as the generation that didn't do anything. Things like this, coming together, bringing awareness, Doug, Nick here, and each and every one of you, all the societies, tribal council, tribal representatives. We need to unite. We need to come together. That way, walking within this prayer, we're fulfilling that for the ancestors. I stumbled, I realized, I understood through my culture, language, ceremony, song, dance, all of this way brought me to sacredness. And then brought me to myself as being, I'm as well sacred, I'm spirit too. So with that understanding, I start to rebuild myself. I just want to share this with you so maybe you can try this. But unknowingly, you rebuild yourself. Once you rebuild yourself, your spouse, your children, your community, Tioshpai, tribe, and nation, and all that can be rebuilt. So I encourage you guys to just keep on moving forward. Be that champion that you are. and just keep moving forward. Start to partner up, start to unite, start to come together. It's that important time. It's been many years now, a lot of years, since the since 1851. Many years now. It's us that got to take it to the next step. And how do we do that? We unify. We come together. We share our expertise. Because the current way that we're going, it's not going to work. It may come to that point where our way of life is no more. When we want to be Ohia, we want to live forever. Ohia. That's where we want to be. That's where we want our children to be. Our generations. Ohia. Forever. So I'm real thankful to be here. Real thankful to be home here on the ancestral land. On the land that we're going to get back. And we're going to rebuild and build it better. That's our responsibility. That's what we should be thinking about. So I greet each and every one of you with a warm handshake, Washichu style, but Lakota style, I rub your face. That's how we met. That's how we greet at one another, by rubbing each other's face in an honorable way. There was no handshake or no power or bump or anything like that. It was rubbing each other's face and then giving that power hug. So I encourage you guys just to keep moving forward. Keep moving forward, because we can do it. We can do it. I'm gonna take some of our sacred earth here, the dirt, the land that we're all sitting on, walking on that. I'm going to take some of that and put it on the base of this totem pole. That way, once it reaches its journey, it's going to be good over there. Everything's going to be, we'll all be recognized. We're all going to see the decision makers are then going to look our way. So I'm going to put some of this sacred dirt down over here. And I really want to say, aho, wopila, wopila chicha. Everybody coming together, all the songs, the drum group, everybody that's here from the young to the old. It's good to see my cousin Lula. She's here. She's a matriarch of the Luta Katioshpai, the family there. So with that, I'm going to add some of this sacredness, because this Makocheki Levakha, it's sacred to us. So I'm going to take some and rub it on a base. That way, when it stands up, it's going to be proud. People are going to look at indigenous issues and start to recognize things. Maybe bring the history of native indigenous people back into schools and that. I don't think it's ever had. People don't know. People don't know who used to live in certain parts of this country. People don't know that. It was never taught. So, aho, wopilai chicha. Thank you. Aho.
Shut up!
Alright, everybody, we're gonna eat. I guess I can show you what people are eating. This up to the Alright. So this is the meal line. You can see it is. You haven't even seen this side. This is everyone who's gathered here. You can see. Not sure what's everyone in here. You want to tell us what's being served? I don't know.
Kimberly.
Where's Kimberly?
Yeah, she's right there. In the skirt.
All right. That's a crystal. Everyone's being eaten, so I'm not going to film it. Doing body work or whatever, we're not going to go over there. going. I think they're in this meal. I'm assuming everyone else is eating. I'm just keep walking around the totem pole. I don't know. I think there's the meal everyone's gonna be eating, so not the best time to talk to people. And then I think there might be one more speaker or two more speakers, and then we'll probably be taking the feed down. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. Let me see if I can find some stuff here. Again, I'm Lorenzo Serna. I am the Technical Media Director here at the NDN Collective, and we wanted to just bring you here live to witness this with us as we greet our relatives as they ride with the Red Road Totem Pole journey. And this totem pole is going to continue to a bunch of different spaces. Did you want to talk about it at all?
Sure.
Yeah, just I'm
with the journey. It is such an honor to be here.
Do you want to talk? Or just give you some time?
Yeah, it's just the spirit. We've been in a lot of places at Totem Pole, going to many others, and every moment is filled with this sacred sense of the spirit that sits in these places. And when the chief put his hand on that, people ask, what is sacred? They ask us. That's sacred. It's not the pool, it's the prayers in the pool. And that's what this journey is about. It's carrying that dirt and everything else in that pool to the capital of this country across these sacred landscapes with a sacred obligation to a wounded American nation whose capital was desecrated, and with this totem pole to bring hope.
And where is the totem pole coming from? Like what?
Coming from Bellingham, Washington, which is on the Canadian border in Washington State. Lummi Reservation. Doug James and Jewel James and the House of Tears Carvers are there. And this log here came from around a place called Kumokoshan, which is a Mount Baker. That's where this log came from, this old growth. 400-year-old cedar.
Cool. Well, thanks for being here and thanks for talking to me.
Sure.
I just wanted, I let you, get back to just observing and being present.
Off camera, it's just...
It's a lot, it's like recording live, so I'm just going to keep putting things out.
That's what I'm saying. To be in Sioux country.
Is it okay that it's recording live? Okay,
sure.
just making sure.
With this totem pole, given all the history, what struck me is it is so astounding that so much has survived, so much horror. It's astounding. That's what occurs to me.
We're still here.
More than still here.
I know, we're thriving. Right, thank you. So a lot of what we've been hearing today, I think, is just the power of coming together, the power of holding space together, the power of practicing our different traditional ways, again, different tribes, different traditions, different everything, But to be as relatives here in this place, you can feel it. It feels good to be here. You can tell everyone's feeling pretty good to be here. And the goal was to provide a respite for the journey. This journey is crossing the whole so-called United States. And so there's meals. They have a bodywork person in the back. You can see somebody getting some bodywork. We're not going to go over there. We'll let them have that. Last night there was a meal and a greeting and a ceremony. Just trying to greet people in a good way and try to provide cleansing in a good way in these sacred places as they come from sacred places. So, again, thanks for being here, watching on the NDN Collective. And again, I gotta implore you, if you would, to hit like, follow, subscribe, get alerted. There'll be more live feeds. This is just one of them. And we wanted to show you the Red Road journey. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed all the different speakers. A lot of powerful knowledge shared. Just enjoy all of that, all those words coming from so many generations that are passed down to us in these moments. So just enjoy it and try to understand it or try to carry it. Understanding, is a whole different thing, but just acknowledging these words and carrying them as they impact us as we interact with the world, because sometimes we don't understand something until it's happening, and then you think about these things that were said before and it clicks, it greets you with some knowing, and before it was just something you heard, and so let me think what I should do. I can show you there's an art table. Let's go check out the art table. Anyways, people are eating, so I'm just kind of I had a little clicking thing here. I apologize about it. I don't know where it's coming from. This is live right now. I don't know if you want. No, I'll just let you know. So before you,
I just wanted to say goodbye. We're leaving.
Oh.
Yeah, we're flying out. We're going to go to DC, but Willie said you guys might join us.
Yeah, I might be there.
Okay.
So we'll talk then. Okay. Yeah, we're thinking about going to DC. Send those private messages. DM us. Tell us to go to DC and show what it's like when it arrives there. We're thinking about going, but you know how it is. We're not sure if we will. So no, we can't make no promises, but we did want to show the totem pole get here, but it's journeying. I think after this it's going to Standing Rock, and then it's going to the Stop Line 3 fight to greet that place. If you've been watching that ongoing struggle to try to stop that pipeline from destroying the land, as it's destroying the land, usually people are always warning that these things will happen, and they're actually happening as the pipeline's being constructed. The waterways are being decimated, the water's being taken away from the land, from the animals, from the people, to build the pipeline, you know. And those rivers are going dry, waterfalls are stopped. The headwaters of the Mississippi is you know, just it's getting even smaller, you know. And so this telepole is going there to hopefully bring what it can to that fight that's ongoing across northern Minnesota. So definitely check out what's going on there. And then it's going to continue on, and like I said, it'll end up in Washington, D.C. to Secretary of the Interior, Deb Haaland. So there's this art thing here.
Yeah, but it's red. You might not see this side, but it's red. Make that side black.
Paint, kids. Live streams, tough. But again, thanks for being here. And geez, what is? I think it's just that thing right there. Right? We're gonna have a little clicky noise as I walk around. Apologies. Show everyone eating now. Everyone's eating. There they are. They're all eating food. Hands up. Yeah, people waving. All right. I just wanted to do that real quick. Oh, I don't get to eat. You just gotta keep filming. Live streamers never get to eat. I'll take a plate. Yeah.
Okay. Is that one aside for you?
Yeah. Let's see what I'm gonna be eating after I take this down. Oh, I caught that. Look at that. Multitasking.
And then some pasta salad.
Nice.
Sorry, what'd you need? We put in the plates on it. And then there's fresh berries, and coconut whipped cream dessert.
Okay, yeah, I'll take all of that.
Okay.
Let me put this down. Yeah, I'm gonna put this down for a second. We're just gonna put the camera on the totem pole for a little bit as people eat. Again, I'm not a big like show people eat kind of streaming person. It's always kind of weird. So if you're watching this now, you can be looking at the totem pole for a little bit. Enjoy.
I got all my
Yeah. It's. I couldn't believe. Well, I mean, I could believe, but like, that thing's like 300 years old. It's like my second time. Well, third time. The first time was at UNM, and like we had to return that. And like, it was just taken. The second time was in standing round. Whatever happened, I count back home. You know, Was Unicorn Riot around before standing round? Is that Occupy Wall Street?
going? You're on the Mohawk. Oh, awesome. Nice.
That's a group photo.
You know my handle? Okay, yes. I have to like write things down so I don't forget. Oh, I was just gonna say
Alright, I think we're closing out soon, everybody. Thanks for being here. I don't know if it's in focus. Alright, I think there's a few more speakers, and then we're going to take it down. Hope you enjoyed the view of the totem pole. So everyone's kind of just milling around. Everyone just had food, so they're chatting, talking.
Oh, you're waiting, I'm sorry.
Happy. Enjoying each other.
Is this a postcard? This is cool. Where'd you get it?
Dee, can you start ushering people to sit down again, and we're gonna get going? We're gonna get
It's right here, Mo.
That's okay.
Okay, so we're gonna.
Check. Nick is back in the saddle again.
I want to ask everybody to come back to the shade. We're going to give away $1 million to the first amount of people that get back under the shade. And if you want, you could take it to Deadwood, you could double it, and we could use it to buy our land back. Get under the shade. Nothing motivates Indian like gambling money. Hurry up, Toshka. You're going to miss out on a chance at $1 million. For all those that are listening on Facebook, well, you should have been here. Should have been here. Look at Toshi. As soon as he heard $1 million, he's running. So I want to kind of explain how we're going to finish out today. We're not going to go that much longer because our family here, the carving family, they have other places that they need to go, and so we're going to begin to wrap this up a little bit, and we're going to have two more speakers, or we're going to have one more speaker that's going to talk a little bit about the land and what's going on here. And then Queen Lula is going to be a part of the blessing of this. And then we're going to share some songs and end it out in a good way like that, so we can send our lovely relatives back on the road and those that are traveling with them. So I did go on to WeatherBug. It looks like what we're getting right here is probably the worst it's going to get, I think. But, you know, Tukashila will make that decision. But the one who's getting it real bad right now is Custer. Maybe they deserve that down there. I don't know. So At this time, I'm going to ask Crystal to come up, and then she's going to introduce one of our fellow comrades and organizers and speakers.
Thank you, Nick. Okay, at this time I want to ask our racial equity team to come up. Caitlin Shoulder and Hermes Leon. And they're led usually by Sunny Red Bear, who's traveling right now, so she wasn't able to join us. But you know, they did a lot of work. You know, in the Creek Patrol started something, started to show up for our houseless relatives that live along Miniluzaha. And they treated them with dignity, and they treated them with respect, and then they started the work of making sure that they were safe and that they were protected. Because ever since, even though I was raised in Montana, ever since I was a little girl, I heard of the murders and the things that happened along Rapid Creek. And Creek Patrol stepped up and took on that responsibility. And from that came the idea of Camp Miniluzaha, to keep our unhoused relatives safe and to weather them through the winter. And then now, you know, this team has been doing a lot of work to take care of them and treat them with dignity and treat them as our relatives, because the reality is that we literally are blood related to all of them. Our communities are small. And so I just want to appreciate these two for all of the work that they've done, and just like have them share a little bit about what is possible when we reclaim the land. Because this is the land that we're on. You know, not too many months ago, this was an entire encampment here. There were army tents, there were peoples, there were fires burning, there was food being served and coffee being served. And it was a whole thriving community, and it taught us a lot of lessons. And so those things are possible when we reclaim our land. And so I want to hand the mic over to Caitlin and to Hermes and have them share a little bit about the work that happened right here on this land.
I come from Martin, South Dakota. My dad's Joe Bellion. My mom's Jeanette Bellion. I would like to call up some people that come stand with us up here. Carrie Middleton and Marto Middleton. Hey, Marto Blackberry, Carrie, Jacoy, Jojo, Bill, Donnie, ask her if you could just get off the phone for a little bit. I'd ask my Lachis to come up here, but they kind of have a hard time standing for a long time. But I still recognize them. Earl and Brian. Last summer, Creek Patrol decided to take it upon themselves to walk the creek bottom and check on the relatives, because they're getting abused by many different groups, including the Rapid City Police Department. And these guys here have been still doing it to this day. This is what we got left. A couple others maybe. But these guys have been pushing and still checking on everyone, still feeding them, still making sure they're safe. All that started last summer, and we, with the help of NDN Collective, we decided to set up a camp, which didn't go too well on the first shot. Rapid City Police Department didn't like us setting up teepees in their town, I guess. So Nick gave a 4-hour lesson on how to take a teepee down. But
4 hours?
With Nick and NDN standing behind us, the day after we got out of jail, we came up here. And Nick still remembers us coming in the Suburban. We came around the corner, we seen this spot. And it's just perfect, you know. It was one of those perfect moments. From that time forward, we set up teepees, and we put a community fire out here. Said prayers, offered tobacco, offered food, so we could camp on this ground, so we could get a safer place for our relatives, who people kind of pushed to the side. people look at different. But it was a long road, it was a long winter. We decided to set up a winter camp, and NDN was a huge part of making that happen, and we really appreciate that. But now, we have to take everything down, and we're going to start moving to the next phase of protecting our people. They call this place home, up here, right where we sit. That's what everyone down on the creek, we're wondering when they could come home. Because they call this spot right here, they call it home. And if you talk to them, it really brings out a lot of emotion. Because this is what they have. And I'd like to say thank you to Oglala, Dakota, the tribe, and to Rosebud, and to Eagle Butte for stepping up. I think Nick made the call, and about 45 minutes later we got the okay to come up here and be spotters. Pissed off the entire neighborhood down here, all these Washichus. It was pretty cool. That first time I was setting up teepees, we looked up there at this hill. It's called the Trail of Tears. We looked up there and there's some white women walking down that road. And they seen the teepees and they froze. And they took off running back over the hill. Caused a lot of drama that time. But I'm going to turn the microphone over to Caitlin. She's going to give what racial equity is and the part that we're playing to try to help our unhoused relatives. People call our unhoused relatives, they call them homeless. But they're not. They're no longer homeless because this is their home. This is our homeland. All of this is Washichus. They don't understand that and think that we owe them. But this is our home. Our relatives are no longer homeless. We're houseless right now, but not for very long. We're going to put out an eviction notice for all these houses on this side over here. Hey. Here's Caitlin.
I was born and raised here in Rapid City, and I just want to first off say, ask for forgiveness for my elders for speaking in front of you today. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what our racial equity campaign is going to be doing as we go closer into our plans for the future. Hermes had talked about what started here at Camp Mini-Wuzahan. But that was just the beginning, and we have big dreams for what this space is going to become, what the healing that is going to occur and continues to occur here on this land. We're dreaming of tiny home communities for our unsheltered relatives so that they can build up equity within themselves, but also so that they can take on further down the road in their life. And so what we envision here is a very multifaceted, tiered approach of what this tiny home community can become. We know that for some of our relatives, they just prefer a place at night to stay. They prefer to be back out on the creek. That's what they're used to. That's what the way that they want to walk their journey, and we want to respect that for them. And so when we went into planning, we had to be very conscious and intentional about these decisions, to be very inclusive to them in their healing journeys. Because a lot of them are still dealing with some really heavy trauma. A lot of them have gone through the boarding schools and the residential schools. And these coping mechanisms that they're dealing with right now, they just need that support and that care. And what Camp Mini-Wuzahan has done is let them know that they have that here, and trust, and that trust that we've been building with them over time. It's really hard in this community to build trust with our natives and to keep it. It's really easily broken. We've been dealt with promises after promises after promises. But the ability to build that trust for our unsheltered relatives here has been a really powerful step in our healing journey as a whole community. And so we envision this tiny home community to be not just for the unsheltered relatives, but to be attached to our overall Rapid City community, to inspire the rest of our Native youth and our natives that live here in Rapid but around the area, that we have that power and that strength within us, and that it's going to take healing, but it's going to take our community to do so. And so the vision that we share with this land right now would be a multi-tiered tiny home approach. So we'd have a center fire, we'd bless the ground, we'd offer our tobacco just as it was started here for the camp. to bring in the good way and to bring in our spiritual prayers and our powers that we have as Lakota people. And then we want to build that dorm style in the middle for those temporarily ones that don't want to stay here long term, but just need to lay their head down to rest for the night, just need a warm place to sleep, a warm meal, time to shut down from survival mode for just a moment so that they can rest and breathe once again. Allow them that space to really envision and become dreamers once more, because a lot of them, they haven't been able to have that chance. It's always been survival mode, or what am I going to do next? And so this space, we want that dorm space, but we also are envisioning a communal area within that dorm so that they can still be around each other, interact, have crafts, do whatever it means for them to be healing. And then we also want to offer the cultural piece of it as well. And so we have Inipi over here, and we had it here while camp was going, and our unsheltered relatives could come in whenever they wanted to. The community could come in when they wanted to, because it was a communal effort, and we wanted to keep that there, and we wanted to keep that message alive. And it was very powerful to see our unsheltered relatives. A lot of them hold that knowledge still, and so when we would hold Inipi, the whole atmosphere changed. It was very quiet, it was very prayerful, very sacred. A lot of them would come here intoxicated, but they understood the power of what that was for us and what that does for our people. And so even in those moments when there might have been inebriation, they still respected our prayers and our power of prayer. And so we want to keep that cultural piece alive because it's allowed a lot of them to really start to heal again and to come back to their spirits, to call their spirits back to them. And so in doing so, we want to keep that cultural sensitivity ingrained in all of the approach that we take with this tiny home community. So we also envision our most vulnerable being in the center, being protected by those who are able to stand strong for them and lean on them, or be that support that they can lean on. And so we have 3 tiers that we're envisioning. That the first tier is going to be our most vulnerable, that are just starting on their healing journeys, that are taking those first initial steps. And then the second layer is going to be those who have been working towards it for a little bit, 6 months, a year. We're still looking at the logistics of that part of the breakdown, but those who can offer support to the inner circle. And then on the last outer circle, we want them to be mobile, but we want them to be for those who have been heavily into their healing journeys, their journeys of sobriety, potentially families with little ones that need that helping hand up again. But these ones will be mobile so that they could take them home, wherever that home may be, if it's here, if it's in North Dakota, if it's down in Texas, wherever it may be on Turtle Island. Allow them that opportunity to bring that home with them, and also so that they can build an equity for themselves for their future as well. So it's a very intentional and very thoughtful process, and we're still in these beginning phases of it. But we want to come at it in a good way because we see the power of healing that's occurred at Camp Mayulusahan, and we recognize that it's not just for our unsheltered relatives, it's for a lot of our Native community here in Rapid City and over Turtle Island in general. And so we want to just bring that in, and racial equity, that's where our core is that power of healing and that essence of healing one another. And it's been very powerful in the ways that we're able to build out tools that can just be utilized by individuals to uplift themselves and to take that step for themselves. And it's been a very powerful experience for myself. While we're working on healing our community, we also are working on healing ourselves. And so it's just been a very powerful journey and a very humbling and honoring journey to be a part of this work. And so I just want to end with that, and thank you all for coming and joining us today at Camp Mayulusahan and sharing in this space and this energy that occurs here. Popila.
Something was brought to my attention that I wanted to make sure that we created space here to talk about before we conclude. One of our leaders and political prisoners is Leonard Peltier, and he's been fighting for his freedom, ever since the shootout in Oglala in the 1970s. and there's efforts restarted up to fight for Leonard Peltier's freedom in his last years on this earth. And Gene Roach is here, and maybe a few other people are here that are doing some organizing work around fighting for Leonard Peltier's freedom. And the fight for his freedom is near and dear to my family's heart too. My late grandfather Ken Tilson represented him at one point to try to fight for his freedom, and it's a reminder that we have political prisoners that are in these prisons for standing up for our people. So at this time I wanted to ask Gene Roach to come up here and to share a few words. And I think she has another relative with her that's also part of the work that is fighting for Leonard Peltier's freedom. And so, I asked them to come up at this time. You see those cards that they're passing around, and ask people to fill them out and begin to pressure this administration for the clemency of Leonard Peltier.
Hello, my name is Gene Roach. I'm from the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe. I've been here in Rapid City most of my life. I'm also a survivor of the Oglala firefight. And we're here to ask people that have positions, or even your personal self, to write a letter in support of Leonard's freedom. It's been a long time, and he deserves to spend some time with his children, his grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. But if you could take a moment, if your organization could send us a support letter, we'd appreciate it. We're also asking the people who are taking protocols, take our prayers with you, and don't forget Leonard Peltier. Eventually he'll get out. I have that prayer and thought in our minds. We don't want to give up. This is our director, Carol Goki. She's from the Wisconsin tribes up there, and she'd like to say a few words. She speaks to Leonard on a daily basis.
Thank you. Miigwech. Leonard is in prison because he is paying for a crime that our federal government orchestrated. And for 45 years, he's been suffering because of that crime. And we want him to know that we haven't forgotten about him. We're going to make sure everybody in this country is aware that they've imprisoned one of our brothers, one of our family, one of our relations, okay? One who has done nothing in his life but fight for his brothers and sisters. His whole life has been tragic. His whole life. And it didn't matter to him. He continued to fight for what was right. Not what was legal, but what was right. And that day he fought and gave his life. He sacrificed his life for his family. And for this woman right here, he saved her life that day. And many others. And for that, he's in prison for that. Not because there's evidence, not because a court of his peers found him guilty, but because he's an Indian. That's his only crime to them. It's because he's an Indian who would speak up and take care of his people and rally for his people. And for that, he's in prison. And we need to stand strong and stand behind him. Let your president know that we want clemency for him. He has more than served the time that they gave him. 17 and a half years for each crime of defending yourself against two men coming up on your property and shooting to kill. Defending himself. When the other two men got acquitted based on self-defense, but not Leonard because somebody had to pay. That's how our federal government works. We all know how they work. We all know. We feel it. Every day we feel it. We need to speak up. We need to help him get out. And we're doing the best that we can. Gene and I have been to New York. We were going to go to New York, but we went to D.C. instead. And I've never done this before, but I will not be quiet. Leonard asked me to do a job. He asked me to help him. He asked me to be his voice. And he asked me to do everything that I can. And I'm going to do everything that I can, along with all of his brothers and sisters and all his relations, to get him home. So Gina's got some postcards we're sending around. Just sign your name, put your address, put a 40-cent stamp on it, drop it in the mailbox. We need to inundate the president with what we feel and what we believe. And he knows, this president knows. All right? So, thank you very much, Miigwech, and I appreciate you listening. Thank you.
Okay, at this time we're going to call Grandma Lula Red Cloud forward, and she's going to be sharing a little bit with us this afternoon, and then she'll be blessing off the totem pole to take those prayers and take this good energy that we've shared here today on the journey with our Lummi relatives, and as they complete their journey to Washington, D.C. So we're going to give her a moment to come up here. If someone could grab her a chair, we'll move her over here by the end of the totem pole. Thank you.
I'm better watch their own happy. Like you how I'm better watch their you happy. Chani tokabia wa ina chino chicha. What chicken at Takua Galakate you count. Shoot it down. Chante wastel. No pet chuza. Machbia luta we me cha hoye chicha. Uchichani toka we awahina jino. Yale wood chicken. Makule azile makia. Mashipi chahetam. Oyukhanaku Leonard Peltier. Ahani Pinredale. Hino Washiolet Cha Owakina summer program El Washington, 19 years old, 1967. I hired Leonard Peltier to work for a youth program, and he's still in prison. And it breaks my heart that one of our people is still there. I Sundance 2 Sundances. Prayed so hard to get well so I could help my people, our people, all of us. Prayed so hard to, on the second one, prayed so hard for the children, the handicapped, the elders, those that are in wheelchairs. Struggled so hard. And I finished and went back to my camp, and I heard about a young girl that I know attempted suicide, took an overdose of pills, and it just praying for all these people, and she didn't finish the process. However, I saw her, and she's not well, I could see. She's not focused, And she lost a lot of weight since I last saw her. And she was just kind of looking around, you know. And it is a good indicator when a child or an adult stays isolated. That is a warning that the child or the adult needs help. So when you see children, your grandchildren, if they spend too much time being isolated, it is a warning sign. Talk to them. Do something for them. Don't wait until they take an overdose or hanging from a tree. We all don't see those things until it's too late. People are too busy drinking or doing drugs or whatever, and the children suffer. So anyway, I reach out to all of you. We have a lot of alcoholism on our reservation. I'm from Pine Ridge, and the suicide rate is high. I know that. And I listen and I hear parents struggling. And it's hard to hear their stories. I try to work with people. I'm a trauma specialist, and I work with people who do go through trauma. And a lot of times I just do it voluntarily. I don't ask for pay or anything. But when a person needs help, I know it and I see it in their face and try to help them. And this Black Hill, I see people. I saw a young man that had a t-shirt on it that said, Hesapa. Hesapa. A lot of people say Bahasapa. You know, that's like a burnt hill somewhere. But the proper name is Hesapa. So I was very touched to see that on the back of a t-shirt. Land back. That is very important. I have a grandson facing probably 22 to 27 years to go to prison for what he's doing, trying to get land back for the people. He has succeeded in getting some back. He's still working to try to get more land back. And this Treaty of 1868 and the 51 are very important to our people, to all our tribes. And in the Treaty of 1868, my great-great-grandfather, Chief Red Cloud, negotiated so that we will have education, free education, and health benefits. That's why we have Indian House Service, BIA education. Make use of those. Go after an education. Work on your health. If you eat more fruit and just plain protein, water, vegetables, you can improve your health quite a bit. Things like pop, sweet stuff, rolls, cakes, they're not good for our people. Causes sugar diabetes, a lot of other illnesses that our people are going through. It has to do with diet. So try to go for natural food, and you can take care of your bodies. And I don't mean to lecture. However, I see a lot of our people suffering. And it can be fixed. Don't depend on pills. You could take pills or a shot and continue doing what you're doing. But you can help yourself. It starts from inside of you. It starts inside of me. And I have rheumatoid arthritis. And at the time I couldn't walk, but I started walking. And I got traumatized. I couldn't walk last September. I was like a puppet. But I'm walking again. And I intend to keep walking for as long as I can. And all our people, I reach out to you. Help yourselves. Do the best you can. Every time on this last Sundance, every time I hear the men blow their eagle whistle bone, I hear different words coming out. And then this last day, towards the end, the men blew their whistles. And as we danced, I heard therapy, therapy, therapy. And I thought, those both eagle bone whistles are saying therapy, therapy. So we finished. I went back to my camp. A high wind was coming. We had to exit very quickly from the campground. But when I got in the car, it wasn't long before I got a text message. A young girl that I know tried to commit suicide, took an overdose of pills. And that's what the eagle bone whistle was telling me. Therapy, therapy, therapy. People need help. These are messages. It's not just something that we can hear. Don't wait until your child is hanging from a tree or from a closet. I've seen those and know of students that kill themselves that way. And it's very traumatic, affects the whole family. So I reach out to each of you and look at your relatives. Who can you go and just say, I'm better wash day. If you care about somebody, let them know that. Let them know that you care about them. Or give your grandmother or grandfather or parent or a child a phone call just to say, I'm thinking of you, I love you, and I hope you have a great day. I'm wearing sunglasses because I think my eyeballs all got sunburned. Both of them. So, you know, when they say, we won Wachipi, that's what you do. You dance, looking at the sun. And so, just protecting my eyes. Wopila tanka chicha, taco tekilan and the major on the hill. Ushicha, and Wahinaja, and Ale Azilia Chimcha, when I chamak.
right, again, thanks everybody for joining us. I think we're about to close out the event. It was a long day, beautiful, hot here in the Hesapa, but still just super beautiful, super powerful. A lot of good words are shared, a lot of good relationships were, you know, taken care of. Take care of the relationships. Had 2 meals and music, song, and a lot of knowledge.
All the fees
I think enough. If you like our feed, go ahead, hit like, follow, subscribe, get alerted, share. Go to NDNcollective.org to learn more about what we've been up to. A lot of our programs are programming and lots of stuff going on. So please check it out. Thanks for being on our feeds. Thanks for being here. And we're going to listen to the closeout here.
Hamadakiapi. At this time, we have prepared some gifts for the Lummi relatives for bringing the sacred Chawaka to the Hesapa. And so we wanted to we prepared some gifts for them to help them on their journey. And so at this time we wanted to call forward the Lekshi Doug and his wife, representing their carving family at this time. Ask them to come forward.
Kurt.
And here are insect relatives singing.
And at this time, all the relatives that have been supporting the carving family along this journey, and the folks from, I don't know, Judith LeBlanc and Crystal and some of the others, security, even the security, all the security, we wanted you to come up here at this time too. You know, to do something like this, it's just like a Wiwangwachi. There's all these different roles that goes into playing to make something like this happen. And so we wanted to offer these gifts at this time. And we're after everybody gets up here, we are gonna ask the people to come through and to shake hands and to send them on a good way, like we do as Lakotas. There is a gift. It came to our attention that there was a drum that was traveling with them, and maybe that drum made its way to somewhere else. And so I wanted to gift this drum to you, Doug, and to your carving family. To give this to you. This was actually a gift that was given to us. You know, we don't just organize here in the Black Hills. We support other indigenous communities all over the place. And we were in Canada, and we went to a place called Cold Lake. And the people up there in Cold Lake have been fighting, you know, the tar sands, the tar sands up there for, you know, the last 20 years. And we came together at a gathering with them. And at that time, at that gathering, this was one of the gifts that was given. And what I was always taught about these gifts is that when we're given something and we really, really like it, it's something that you care about, and so you give something away when it's your best thing that you have to offer, because then it means something. And this drum has been at NDN Collective, and at different times use it for different things. And so you know, we held it for a period of time, and now it's this family's drum. And so you know, in this way, you know, we really appreciate that you brought this to our territory. And now we made relatives, and you're welcome back here anytime. And if you want to fight the government, you came to the right place. The spirit of our people, we have that resistance in us because we never surrendered yet. We never gave up yet. We never surrendered. And so, you know, sometimes we get stuck on our, you know, what we don't have, the hardships that we have as a people, or the poverty that we live in. But I wouldn't trade it for nothing, because I'm proud to be in Dakota. I'm proud to be in the Black Hills. I'm proud to be amongst the people that will stand up and fight. And so we share, you know, through these songs and through these handshakes and through these words that were shared here. You know, we stand in solidarity with you, you know, with your family. We stand in solidarity with Judith, with you, and the Native Organizers Alliance. You know, this is a big thing to take this to the most powerful country in the world. You know, to send this message to the White House, to send this message to the Department of Interior. It's a powerful thing that we're happening here. And so, how I wanted to do this is, you know, if it's appropriate, that as we go through, I want us to put our hands on this chawaka, to say a prayer and then go through and shake hands and to end in a circle, because that we can give our energy and our strength and our power to this. And at this time too, you know, all of the speakers and the people representing the different tribes, you know, maybe we have these different titles, but we recognize that we're here representing our different communities, our families. And we have official representatives from our tribal governments here, from our treaty councils, from our Teoshwais, from our Tokala societies, spiritual families. So at this time, I'm going to ask the singers to share some songs, as the people come through and put their hand on this chawaka and shake hands. And after you're done, you know, do how you do, you know, go at the end, and then the people behind you will shake your hands, and we'll finish out in a circle. So, Okawi Chasha, Wana.
Again, everybody, thanks for joining us today. the Red Road to DC event here in Hesapa, the Black Hills. I mean, at Camp Luzon. I heard a little bit of the history of that camp during the live event. Again, don't forget to hit like, follow, and share this content. If you would like more people to see it, subscribe, get alerted. We're closing out here as we set our relatives on their journey. Again, this totem pole is going all the way to Washington, D.C. And it's hoping to bring healing across the country, or so-called United States. And you can see that even here it was blessed, it was given different prayers, and it's just going to continue carrying on and stopping in different territories together more and more as he brings that all the way to DC to hopefully provide healing. How'd it go?
Yeah, I lost my drum there over in Clearwater. It disappeared over there, so yeah, I was kind of bummed out, man. Don't even have a drum board anymore. Look what I got. So I got some hair on it, yeah, too.
There's no camera. Don't look at the camera. Don't look at the camera.
Alright. Sure.
I asked the singers always get to miss out on shaking hands, so I'm going to ask the singers to come through and join the circle when we do our closing prayer.
Alright everybody, I'm going to go ahead and take this off before the closing prayer. But again, thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to hit like, follow, and share. I think there's a press release going out about today's event. Definitely take a read of that. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Again, my name is Manan Sosadna. My pronouns are they, them. I'm Chiganix. I'm the Director of Tactical Media here at the NDN Collective. Thanks for being with me.